Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 4, verse number 9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. O Arjuna, my birth and my actions are divine. Whoever knows this truly will not be reborn after shedding his physical body. He will come to me. All statements in the Gita are very profound. The style of Indian scriptures, Hindu scriptures. And let's follow each point. Janma karma cha me divyam. My birth is divya. My karma is divya. Divya means shining, effulgent. When the sun reflects, the reflection shines. All the functions of light are shining. That's broader point. The topic is Avatara. God descends into the world to lift up the standard of culture, to guide souls on the path leading to bhukti and mukti, enjoyments as well as aishwarya, lot of glorious development, culminating in mukti, liberation. For that purpose, God incarnates. And there is never a time when the world is left just on chance. Never a time when this law of filling up the vacuum, just like with air, whenever there is vacuum, there will be a storm to fill it. Since the earth planet has been created, the law exists. Since humanity has become aware of the goal, this law is always there from early times. Inspiring personalities have come into human race, and they are known as avataras. There are many illusions about avataras. I will not go into details, but I will try to give you the main basic point. The most important point to understand that every soul is divya, shining. Always remember Hanuman's answer to Rama, Deha buddhya tu dasoham. As long as I view myself as the body, I am a slave and God is the master. That in itself is a profound revelation. That you are never ignored. You have the potentiality to become an instrument in divine hands. Next, jiva buddhya tvadanshaka. To the extent you view yourself as a soul, as a ray, and God as the sun, that's the second step. As a ray, you are an aṃśa, a part of God. Therefore, you can grow in the image of God, no matter how difficult circumstances you may face. But first you have to some picture of the image, implying Davi, some of the divine quality. image of God is immensely patient. He is forgiving with a limitless manner. He is always undisturbed. And best of all, he cannot shut anyone out of himself. Ocean can be angry with its waves, but cannot shut out any wave. The sun can be angry with its reflections, but it doesn't have the power to shut out even a single reflection. All the allegorical. Just to understand, no matter how miserable you feel about yourself, that is being done by a sick mind. As you begin to elevate your mind through satsanga, etc., that awareness, I am a ray, begins to dawn upon you. Therefore, overcoming challenges becomes a natural habit. And you never view your life to be challengeless. A fish in the shell, a jellyfish. And Atma Buddhya Tavaivaham. But at the deepest level, Tattvabasi. I am that am I, thou art that. Therefore, every soul is a potential avatara. Ghat ghat mein hai Sai Ramata. Saintly statements. If avatara is located only in few people, how will that statement be real? Ghat ghat mein hai Sai Ramata means every personality. In every person there dwells God. We are going into further details. Anyone who is born with least karmic obstacle, there are personalities, souls that have attained an advanced level of spiritual ascent. But due to little impediment, obstacles, they could not attain liberation. So they were born. But in the process of being born, which is an experience of karma, that obstructive karma was removed. So we have statements in the Upanishad. One sage, even in the mother's womb, he declares, I am the greatest of gods. I am the knower of all the gods and their origin. I have cut down the world tree. It is Trishankur Vedanu Sage Trishanku thus declared, even in the mother's womb. Who recorded it? They would have to ask me. The idea is, enlightenment can dawn even when a baby is in the mother's womb. Or even when the baby is in the mother's womb, the soul may be highly advanced, much more advanced than the father, mother, and all people around. And that's a reality. It's not a question of we have to believe it. So all souls are not in the same level. Souls are in different stages of evolution. Some souls are genius in every field of life. If they are genius, they didn't become genius just by chance. They have been doing that from previous lives. Likewise, in the spiritual field, souls are born, led by their yoga sadhana from the past. If they have attained a high level and still they are born, there has been just little obstacle. The obstacle is washed off by the fact that having gone through the karmic experience of being born, the obstacle was removed. So from their very childhood, sages like Jada Bharata, they are enlightened. But then there were sages who were like Nachiketa, not so enlightened but very advanced. Even while 5-year-old, his whole mind was engrossed in gaining the knowledge of the self. So all these births are divya. And in a very general way, if you having been born as a human being, if you are able to attain enlightenment, the whole world will turn to you, say, his birth was divya, shining effulgent. It is your success that defines your birth. Otherwise, no matter how wonderfully you may be set in as a child, if you have been miserable like Ravana, nobody cares. Naturally, those who are, again, according to the need of times, because every saintly personality becomes linked through divine will. And divine will is working like an atmosphere, filling up every gap, paving the way to evolution for the masses, dharma sansthapanarthaya, creating an order that is to lead the soul on the path of righteousness, and all that. But naturally, avataras, their very birth is not ordinary. They enter into the world with enlightened awareness, and they are also aware of the need of the world. That automatically implies, if you are in tune with God, all your thinking, acting, all your life will be inspiring for the world. So Krishna says, O Arjuna, my birth and my actions, actions of a sage in a broad way or in a poetic way, basantavat lokahite charanta, just like a spring season enters in a forest. You may see only one tree blossoming first. That tree is an avatara. It has looked at everyone. And all the trees get inspiration and they start blossoming. But there again, not all of them. There will be thorny ones and there will be rugged ones, and all will be there. So the world is always mixture of three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Sometimes an avatara may not be well recognized during his very lifetime. Only a few people may know him as avatara, great. With the passage of time, he is recognized more and more. And countless people begin to follow his teachings, while in his own time, he was not known all over. All these have to be understood from a practical point of view. The basic point to understand that you are led by a karmic process. And if you have already performed practice of yoga in the past, integral yoga, you are born in a special way. And your karma, your actions will be, firstly, if you are not completely enlightened, Your actions will be towards leading yourself to enlightenment. But while doing so, you will be also inspiring the world. Or you can be fully enlightened. If you are fully enlightened, like Krishna, no matter whatever he may do, at his deepest level, he is absolutely not the doer, not the enjoyer. The only simile can be given is the sky in the midst of clouds. Clouds create all types of thunder and lightning and all that. And the sky gives room to all of them. Without the sky, all their thunderings, etc., will be impossible. The one who inspires all the clouds to play their role, that one does nothing. In the sky, untouched, no karma, no fruit of karma. This state of absolute detachment has to be attained by everyone. While attaining it, you are going to radiate spiritual knowledge, going to waft the fragrance of your spirituality beyond your imagination. That will happen automatically. You don't have to calculate. If that is happening, then your janma and karma both are divya. Your birth is not ordinary. It is shining with the touch of God. Your actions are not ordinary. You are becoming instrumental in the hands of God. Whoever thus knows and lives a life to attain that, tyaktva deham punarjanama, you secure enlightenment in this very life. And therefore, after death, you are not coming back. What happens to you? He will come to me. The jiva comes to Brahman. The I am in you merges in the absolute I am. You attain absolute non-duality. And that's your home. You come home. A wave comes home when it realizes I am the ocean. A patch of blue comes home when it realizes I am the sky. And every soul comes home when it realizes I am that. But it doesn't therefore mean that in the external world, things will become miraculously different. If your hair was grey, suddenly it will be shining. If that happens, that may be just a secondary effect. That's not that is not the indication of enlightenment. What I'm leading to understand, enlightened people outwardly will be exactly like any human being, subject to the same laws. He needs to breathe in open air. He must have oxygen. His heart must beat. His vitality must operate like anybody else. He may be subject also to various types of adversities of body, mind, etc. Nevertheless, he is a wave knowing I am the ocean. He is a patch of blue knowing I am the sky. And in spite of how he appears in the world, at deeper level he is a source of immense inspiration that people can't really figure out how does it happen. Sages, no matter how they might have looked outward, all were not very handsome. Astavakra had all bent in his body. but they became source of inspiration for countless people, generation after generation. So that's what we imply to understand. Janma karma chame divyam. Every soul has that potentiality to recognize that you are born as a ray of God. If you attain enlightenment, if you do good deeds, attain a higher level of spiritual evolution, people will praise you, saying, how wonderful was this person. When he was born, the sky was full of colors. Even the clouds were dancing. And all your actions become divine, inspiring. Another subtle point, your karma becomes alaukik, loka, action that bears fruit in the world of time and space. That world of time and space is loka. Lokas are different levels of consciousness that are relative, limited. People who are at the level of the masses, who have not developed spiritual aspiration for liberation, their mind is focused on laukik karma. What should I do in order that certain results can be experienced? Your mind is focused on your progress in the world of lokas. But if you have developed spiritual aspiration, you are becoming blended with Avatara. God's presence is descending in you in a special way. Now your karma will be alaukik, transcending the lokas. No more locals. Naturally, there is no more rebirth. Keeping this general understanding, the scriptures have brought out major avatars, among them Rama and Krishna avatars, Buddha avatars. They have become a source of immense inspiration. But the main purpose behind it is to discover the avatara, role of avatara operating in your soul. If your soul strives to attain its essential nature, God, who is the soul of the soul, bows down to lift your soul. His bowing down is avatara. He descends to pick you up and ascend. So avatara movement goes on in every individual. Without the descent of a divine vision, your soul cannot ascend. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manamaya mamupashrita baho jnāna-tapasā puta madbhava magata. Free from attachment, fear and anger. Further explanation. What type of divya karma, what is that divine movement that leads the soul to enlightenment? Free from attachment, fear and anger, with their minds absorbed in me. The descriptions of enlightened souls. Those who are not enlightened, their mind is not absorbed in God. The mind is divided. God has become a means to an end. You have worshipped God, and therefore an idea that since I have been worshipping all, I will go to heaven. I will have a first seat, first row. and all that, making humor. But the goal before every soul is to possess a mind that has nowhere else to go. A mind that is completely focused on God. I am that am I. An absolute non-duality. Aham Brahmasmi. I am that absolute self. You can describe it in the terms of jnana or in bhakti. The jnana, I am that. Bhakti, I am immersed in divine love. Lali mere lal ki. I went after the divine beloved and have merged myself into that divine beloved. Actual statement. If they count it lal. Whenever I turn my eyes, nothing but the beloved. The entire world vanished. The heart's aspiration for fulfillment of love comes to climax. You cannot have a heart unless you love. And you have been loving no matter which embodiment you went through. Even a fox. Love is there in all. And through human embodiments and countless embodiments. In each time you had so many relatives, so many friends, so many near and dear ones. And that process goes on and on. To love and to be loved. But both these instincts, to love and to be loved, reaches the climax. And if that has happened, the mind has become absorbed in God. In order to reach that state, free from attachment, fear and anger, raga, bhaya and krodha, these are malas, gross impurities. And they are three disturbing currents that if they enter the mind, of course, I'm saying if they enter, they always enter. You have to understand them and not become completely swept by them. Go on counteracting attachment by developing attachment to satsanga, sattvic attachment. Go on counteracting fear by developing faith in God and by gaining insight into eternity, immortality of the self. And go on controlling anger. Raga, attachment, is based upon the illusion that something in the world, some person, some object, or objects, or persons, they are supporting you. And there is constant leaning upon these attachment. But as attachment develops, along with it, there develops fear. Because you hardly know your own mind. How can you know the mind of people around you? You may even trust their minds. How can you trust their bodies? The bodies are limited, mortals. So therefore, to the extent you are depending, to that extent there is fear within you. You become free of that dependence and fear when you are in deep sleep. Not completely, but at that time, while you are enjoying deep sleep, you are not depending on it. Not even on your ego. Not on your property, not on your money, bank accounts, nothing. Friends and foes all move away. In deep sleep, you are free of all. And though you are free of all, that you have absolutely no sense of inconvenience or incompleteness. That gives you a subtle point to understand that same reality continues even when you are in the waking state, facing all challenges, etc. At your deeper level, nothing is touching you. You are like the sky. This type of knowledge will go on removing your raga, attachment. And based on raga, there comes current of fear. And each time fear lurks in the mind, you remember how much trouble it makes. Anger surges in your mind to drive away the shades of fear. These are the three heads of Mala, three-headed demon. Attachment, fear and anger. If they grip your mind, you are involved in a karmic bondage. So at the time of death, your mind is not with God. It is not focused on the reality. Your mind is agitated. In that complex state, you are led by karmic process. But you have lived purposefully. If during very lifetime you have turned your attachment to bhakti, attachment to God, you turned your fear to fearlessness. There's nothing to be afraid of because you are in the hands of God. And turn your anger into divine love. Whom are you going to be angry with? Can anger correct any situation? Can a hospital be quieted down by anger? The patients are crying, shouting. Can the world be remedied by anger and violence? Simple point, but human mind has not understood it. However, as you go on removing raga, bhaya and krodha, your mind freed of these, just like if you remove impurity from the mirror, your face begins to shine in it. And your face is the best face in the whole world. Because your face is the face of God. And the moment you see your face, you are absorbed in yourself. Your face, I'm referring to God's face. His face is the only face. Other faces are to be effaced. How deeply are you in love with God? The answer is, how much freedom have you gained over these currents of raga, bhaya, and krodha, attachment, fear, anger? How much can you see your mind free from these agitating currents? To that extent, you are developing love of God. Next point, purified by the austerity of wisdom. Any blemish is purified by austerity. That's the general religious law. But impurities that are purified by ordinary austerity, they come back again. Changes that occur in you by practice of limited austerities. If you have some taints in your clothes, you cut them out and you stitch new fabric into them. It's a patchwork. Austerity is good, but you must understand everything has its level. Like students going to schools, at primary level they are given ordinary type of mathematics, where parallel lines have never meet. When they go into advanced mathematics, they are shocked. when the declared parallel lines do not exist. If at all, they will meet at infinity. I'm just giving, I'm not giving any lecture on science or mathematics. It's trying to explain that the concept of cutting down sinful karmas, that is handled by all religious people in the world. And they are practical. Suppose you have said something wrong and you next day you punish yourself. I'm going to keep mana. Even though wonderful people are there to do a lot of chit chat, I will not. It's called austerity. Create disciplines. But when you make discipline itself the end, not a means, then it becomes tamasic austerity. That austerity produces all those demons. They have done a lot of austerity in the Puranas. Without building up all these details, I'm all that leading you to understand. Understanding is the best austerity. Wisdom is the highest austerity. Jnāna-tapasā, austerity of wisdom. Your mind is absolutely purified. When tattva jnana, like rays of the sun, shine into a room, all the negative in the room moves away. The rays of light entering your mind, illumination, aham brahmasmi, all this is Brahman. That fire of wisdom removes all impurities. All, again, if you want to go to details, mala, vikshepa, avarana. Mala, gross impurities. Vikshepa, distractions of the mind. Avarana is the source of all that ignorance. All these move away. Then, mind that is absolutely purified is like a cloud that has been saturated with light. It has nowhere to go but to dissolve. And then the soul merges in Brahman. Many have attained my being. All those who have been spiritual seekers who have gone through the process of attaining enlightenment. He is the goal. The goal is God realization. The goal is the revelation, I am that am I. The goal is the realization, aham brahmas, I am Brahman. If you attain that goal, then your janma, karma, both becomes divya. Your birth is divine. History will record it. And your actions will be divine. Highly advanced mind has tremendous effect on society. An effect that lingers, lasts for a long, long time. In fact, it continues because it has a principle of permanency. Good things are good for all times to help humanity to rise. So the teachings that were given by sages thousands of years ago, those teachings are as effective as they were in their times. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. O Partha, in whatever way a person adores me, in the same manner I bestow my grace upon him. All human beings follow my path in various ways. First, a very broad understanding. All souls instinctively are drawn to discover who am I. All souls are lovers of Sat-Cit-Ānanda. Existence, knowledge, bliss absolute. Even birds, animals, they have not studied the scriptures. But you ask them, do you believe in existence? Oh yes. We want to live. Sat. And do you know where the squirrels are hiding the nuts? Your kitty cat will say, yes, I want to know. Tell me where. Making a joke to make you understand that curiosity is there in every creature. It is always human curiosity. All the tremendous technical advancements, etc., are the result of that curiosity. You want to know. Millions of light years away, what's going on? And that people have come up with. There is planet like Earth planet, million light years away. And that's just opens a little eye. The mind is thinking how many research can go on. I'm just giving you a general idea. It's like counting sand particles and becoming excited by it. That's quest for knowledge. Everybody wants to know. And that's because deep down you are all knowledge. Everybody wants to exist because deep down you are all existence. And everyone wants to be happy and hopping everyone for happiness. But here in Miami, you hop to Switzerland, you hop to some other place. I'm making a joke. But the idea is constant movement. For what? Happiness. So all souls are believers. Therefore, Hindu religion doesn't go after too much fighting against non-believers. Because it's impossible. God is Sat-Cit-Ānanda. And you don't have to convince people that God exists. Everybody wants to exist. You believe in God. God is existence. Everybody wants to know. You already believe in God. God is the knower. Is all knowledge. Everybody wants to be happy. God is happiness. But then majority of people, they have not come to the grip of these instinctive urges within themselves. How to get at those urges? The moment you begin to move towards it, you become a devotee of God in a more broad, profounder way. And when you become devotee of God, even though you have started in the early stage, it is God who is drawing you. The very Sat-Cit-Ānanda within you is constantly like a magnet drawing your mind to understand what is real existence, what's real consciousness, what is joy. That subtle point is being revealed to you, a response of God. Therefore, all are worshippers of God. They know it or not. And with this, I will conclude. Om Shanti.